Hi everyone, welcome to Drawing Club. Today we're doing Yuki the Can-Do Yeti. Okay, to draw Yuki the Can-Do Yeti, you will need a pencil, an eraser to erase any mistakes you might make, a pencil sharpener, and either a black marker or a black pencil crayon to outline with at the end. But as usual, I'm going to use my gray marker instead of a pencil, just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So Yuki, the Can-Do Yeti, is going to start with almost a big sort of egg shape right in the middle of the page. So I'm just going to make a big sweeping egg shape right there. Okay. And for the face, I'm just going to make another oval shape in the top part of my first big egg shape. This one is more of a sideways egg shape, just like that. And remember, if I'm drawing too quickly, you can always pause the video and catch up. So we're going to give Yuki the Yeti 2 round eyes, just like this, and then some circles of light inside the eyes, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and then a little, you don't have to add this part, but I'm just going to add 2 more lines inside the eye. I'm going to shade those parts in at the end. Just like that. Now, Yuki has got a nice, big, wide, smiling mouth. So I'm going to put, it's going to look like Yuki is sad at the beginning when I do that line. But then when I bring the bottom line back up to there, you can see that it's a smile. Okay. And then there's 2 sort of big, marshmallowy looking teeth right here in the mouth. And then 1 more line that shows where the tongue is. Right there. I'm going to draw 2 circles for the cheeks. So I'm going to do 1 here at this side of the mouth, right underneath that eye. And then 1 more on the opposite side, like that. And then Yuki's got some sort of fur coming down. So I'm just going to draw these little sort of bumps to show this kind of fur hair coming down like that. And then Yuki the Yeti has got 2 horns. So I'm going to put 1 horn there. I'm going to make the horn stripy, so I'm just going to bring some curving lines across from the top of the horn to the bottom. Just like that. And then the same, almost looks like a stripy piece of candy or something. Do the same on the other side. Like that. And then these curving lines just to show the stripes. Just like that. For the arms, I'm going to go a little bit inside the shape of the body I've made here and come all the way out. And I'm going to make these big kind of balloon style arms like that. And I'm going to put 3 little Yeti fingers on the end, just like that. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So make this kind of balloon shape. It's a little bit narrower at this end, a little bit wider at the end. And then put the 3 little fingers there. Along the bottom, I'm going to change the shape of the bottom here of Yuki. I'm just going to make it a little bit like this hair at the top. So just these little curving bumps going up and down, like a cloud kind of. Or if you drew when we did the ghost, Pete the Petrified Poltergeist, I think his name was. It's kind of the same there. And then at the bottom, I'm going to put two little legs, two little stumpy Yeti legs. Some bumps at the bottom to show where the toes are. Two lines for the legs, and the same again, the little bumps. Just like that. And then I'm going to put some, a line at the back to show the mountains. Yetis are not real, I don't think, but they're supposed to live in the Himalayan mountains. So we're going to just put some mountains in the background, some snowy mountains. So just some jagged lines to show that there's some mountains. Okay, and that's pretty much all we need to do with our pencil. So we're going to put away my gray marker, which is my pretend pencil. I'm going to take my black marker, which is my outliner, and then start to outline Yuki, the can-do Yeti. So in our gym at school, you might have seen we have some pictures of Yetis on the wall in there. And that's because the Yeti is a good reminder to us about how we should always have what's called a growth mindset. And what that means is that we should focus not on the things we can't do yet, but on the fact that, well, we can't do them yet. So, you know, for example, I think it's easier if we talk about real life things. So when I was a kid and I was learning to ride a bike, it was not easy. It took me a long time to learn how to ride a bike. And there was many steps and stages. You know, at first I used a bike that had 3 wheels, a tricycle. And then I had a bike that had 2 wheels, but it had extra wheels on the back, training wheels, so that I would stay balanced. And then after a long time of riding that, I started to try to ride a bike that only had 2 wheels and didn't have the training wheels. And there was lots of days where I fell off and I was frustrated and I thought I would never learn how to do it. And I would talk, you know, in a negative way about myself, like, oh, I can't do this and I'll never be able to do this. And it's not a very useful way to learn something. You know, we need to be kind to ourselves and to understand that it takes sometimes a long time and lots of practice to get good at things. And that's partly because that's how our brains work. So by practicing and practicing, our brains develop and things become easier for us because we do them over and over again. And that's basically, it's like if you exercise your muscles, if you exercise your legs, you'll get better and better at running. And the same is true for your brain. If we practice things over and over again, our brain learns them and they become easier for us to do. But at the beginning, they might be challenging. And so that's one thing, you know, when I changed my attitude and instead I wasn't, you know, feeling so frustrated and sad and annoyed with myself because I wasn't perfect at things the first time, instead I said, okay, well, you know, I can't do this yet. And I knew that if I just kept trying, then eventually I would be able to do things like ride a bike. The same for swimming. At first, when I did swimming lessons, you know, I found it very challenging. But I just had to focus and say, okay, well, I can't, you know, do some things yet. But if I keep practicing, I will learn to do them, and I will get better at those things, and I will succeed eventually. And you know what I'm doing right now, drawing this picture. Well, drawing is something that I worked at and still work at a lot. Like I said many times before, nothing I draw is ever perfect. It's never exactly how I picture it in my head. But every time I do a drawing, I learn something new. And every time... Sorry, I'm just gonna... So sometimes when I'm talking and drawing at the same time, it's actually hard for me to focus on doing them both well. But that's okay. That's something I've learned as well over time. is that concentrating sometimes is difficult if I'm doing too many things at once. But, another thing I remember when I was young, I took some music lessons. And I learned something called the tin whistle, which is a kind of like a very simple flute or a recorder. And it's something that in Ireland, children learn to play. And again, it was something that I had to practice. I wasn't very good at it right away. I had to go home every day after my lessons, and I had to practice playing scales, so going up and down, and I had to practice the song over and over and over again, until finally my fingers seemed to know how to play it by themselves. And that's because my brain, I had developed those neurons, and I had practiced again and again and again, and so that my brain just got better at doing it, and my fingers got better at doing it. And so again, that first week or those first few weeks, I probably felt like, oh, I can't do this, I won't be able to do this. But eventually, I changed my attitude and I said, no, I just can't do this yet. I will eventually be able to do this. Even things, like tying your shoelaces, that took me a long time to learn how to do. My little brother, actually, although now he's taller than me, but he used to be my little brother, Richard, he learned to tie his shoelaces before I did, which was a little bit embarrassing for me. But again, I had to forgive myself and say, you know what, I can't do this yet, but I will be able to do this if I just keep practicing. And so we'll see. It's been a long time since I played my tin whistle, not since I think we had our Halloween parade in the school, but here, let's see if I can still play a bit of this song, because I practiced a lot when I was small. Okay, I can still do it. So my fingers still remember how to play it, but only because I practiced and only because I said to myself, I can't do it yet, but someday I'll be able to do it. So here is Yuki, the can-do Yeti, in color. So I colored... it's funny, Yuki is actually a boy's name and a girl's name in Japan. So this can be a boy or a girl Yeti, whichever you would like. And Yuki is actually the Japanese word for snow. That's why I decided to call this Yeti Yuki. But anyway, you can color Yuki if you want, these kind of light blues and light purples and pinks that I used, or you could change the color and change the name if you wanted to of this can-do Yeti. But remember, just keep practicing, just keep trying, never give up, and never be hard on yourself. Okay? All right, I'll see you guys again.